Mabuhay ug madyaw. I am Ivan M. Palmahel. So today I will gonna discuss the theoretical framework, statement of problem, background of study that part of our research. So first is theoretical framework. Theoretical framework, the core idea behind this study is supported by the work of Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt in 1980s, who developed the theory of constraints. A statement of the problem. First is, how do frequently do businesses resorts in the Babak district experiences power interruption? Number 2, how do power interruptions affect the operations and consumer satisfaction of private beach resorts in Babak district? Number 3, what alternative power supply options, renewable energy sources, backup generator are feasible and cost-effective for private beach resorts in Babak district? Background of this study. So first is, in Puerto Princesa, Rico and the Maldives use combined heat and power or microgrid technologies to stay frequently during grid failures and natural disaster. Second is, in conclusion, the study calls for private resorts in Samal Island to move away from passive resilience on the national grid and adopt integrated alternative and renewable energy system. Background of the study. Frequently power outages are a major problem for private resorts in Samal Island, a popular tourist spot in the Philippines. The impact of these renewable power supplies is serious for businesses that depend on tourism. Although national efforts aim to boost energy security such as rehabilitating hydropower plants and moving towards renewable energy through the Renewable Energy Act of 2008, the timeline for implementing large-scale grid improvements is long and the immediate benefits for local resorts are limited. The geography and high solar exposure of Samal Island create good conditions for solar energy use. Our title is exploring alternatives for frequent power interruptions in private beach resorts in Babak District, Samal Islands.
Mabuhay og madyaw. Good evening, everyone. My name is Junicio P. Macasa Jr. and I'm going to give you a brief explanation on our research, which the topic is the alternative on frequent power interruptions in private beach resorts in Babak Island, Garden City of Samal. The topic that I'm going to discuss is all about the significance of the study, the conceptual framework, the definition of terms, and lastly, the scope and the limitation. So, this study holds significant importance as it directly addresses the persistent issue of power interruptions, defined as a temporary or total loss of electrical supply, plaguing private beach resorts, full-service lodging with exclusive beach access in the Babak district of Samal Island. By identifying the most cost-effective alternative power solutions, such as solar energy, the research aims to prevent financial losses for resort owners, protect expensive equipment, and crucially, improve the overall tourist experience, thereby supporting sustainable growth in the local tourism sector. The conceptual framework for the research is an exploratory guide that uses survey questionnaires and interviews to assess the feasibility and practicality of these alternative power options for the resorts. However, the study scope and the limitation are strictly confined, focusing only on the coastal areas of the Babak district and limiting the participants to a target sample of just 10 registered resort owners or managers who have direct knowledge of the power challenges. The study ensures clarity by defining key terms used throughout the research: power interruption, is specifically defined as a temporary or complete loss of electrical supply that can range in duration from seconds up to weeks, typically resulting from either the planned maintenance or unexpected events such as severe weather, equipment failure, or a system overload. Additionally, the term private beach resorts refers to a full-service lodging establishment that offers amenities and lodging while providing guests with exclusive access to a private beach, thereby facilitating a contained vacation experience inclusive of dining and activities.
Mabuhay and Madyaw, my name is Yun Calito. The existing literature points to the viability of localized sustainable energy alternatives, with solar energy being a prominent solution. The study on Matig City provides compelling evidence for this, noting the city's favorable geographic location and high solar irradiance, with a maximum annual solar irradiation of this data demonstrate a strong technical potential for solar power generation. The use of geographical information system (GIS) and multi-criteria decision-making (CDM) techniques to create a solar energy system site suitable map further validates this approach. This methodology, which considers technical solar irradiation, environmental, land use, and economic factors, is a systematic and reliable way to access the suitable of a location for solar energy development. The findings, which show that over 66% of Mati City land area is suitable for solar energy system, provide a clear precedent for private beach resort in similar coastal region. Additionally, the implementation of alternative energy systems like solar power can mitigate the risks associated with grid instability and contribute to a broader low-carbon development strategy. While the government's long-term plans to strengthen the power grid and promote renewable energy are crucial, individual businesses cannot afford to wait for these large-scale projects to come to fruition. A research investment in its own solar infrastructure allows it to gain energy independence, reduce its operational costs, and promote an eco-friendly brand image. This not only solves the immediate problem of power interruption but also provides a long-term competitive advantage in a market where sustainable tourism is increasingly valued by consumers. Beyond solar power, other alternatives such as wind power, micro-hydro system, or even the use of high-efficiency backup generators could be explored, depending on the specific location and resources availability. A hybrid system that combines multiple energy sources such as solar panels for a daytime operation and a reliable battery storage system or a backup generator for nighttime and cloudy days could offer the most robust and secure solution. The initial financial investment for this system is significant, but the long-term economic benefits, including reduced electricity costs and avoidance of revenue loss from power outage, can outweigh the initial capital expenditure. However, the problems of frequent power interruption in regions like Mindanao necessitates a shift in focus for private beach resort from passive reliance on the national grid to proactive adaptation of alternative energy solutions. The Mati City study provides a strong methodological framework and compelling evidence for the feasibility of solar energy. By embracing such alternatives, these resorts can not only solve their immediate operational challenges but also align with global efforts toward sustainability, enhance their brand appeal, and secure a more stable and prosperous future. Despite a mandate to use renewable energy sources, SPUG has faced technical and legal difficulties and has been unable to comply. This reliance on unreliable and expensive imported diesel electricity leaves approximately 25% of households in places like Siquijor unelectrified, while the electrified 75% suffer from unreliable power. Therefore, to mitigate frequent interruption, private beach resorts must explore alternatives to the unstable traditional grid, such as implementing their own solar hybrid system, which SPUG is now formulating tenders for. Based on the provided document, the issue of frequent power interruption in private beach resorts is intrinsically linked to the broader concept of multi-dimensional energy poverty MEPI in the Philippines. The paper defines MEPI as a measure of energy deprivation moving beyond a simple unidimensional view. It established a strong correlation between MEPI and income poverty, suggesting that a lack of reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy services is a significant barrier to economic growth and development. The study highlights that the absence of such service hinders a country's ability to reduce poverty, increase productivity, and enhance competitiveness for private beach resorts. This translates directly to a loss of business viability and customer satisfaction. The study reveals that the energy deprivation is a widespread issue with a high incidence of deprivation in access to communication and education-related appliances. While the paper focuses on households, this finding is directly applicable to the tourism sector, as these types of service are essential for a modern resort operation and guest experience. Lack of reliable power to run these conveniences, such as Wi-Fi and air conditioning, not only inconvenience guests but also impairs the resort's ability to function competitively and maintain its reputation. Ultimately, the paper underscores that our resort struggles with frequent blackouts are a micro-level manifestation of a macro-level challenges, where access to modern energy service is a critical foundation for sustainable development. The literature suggests that addressing this challenge requires a comprehensive and collaborative approach. The study aims to help identify the fundamental challenges in energy poor areas and recommends building collaboration and partnerships among governments, financing institutions, development agencies, communities, social entrepreneurs, and NGOs to find innovative solutions. This suggests that a review of alternatives for private beach resorts should not only focus on technical solutions but also on the policy and collaborative frameworks needed to implement them effectively. The provided text supports the idea that the path of reliable power involves a multi-sectoral efforts to ensure that even remote areas are like those where many beaches resorts are located can achieve energy security and sustainable development. The operational reliability of private beach resorts in the Philippines is intrinsically linked to the reliability of the national power grid. Frequent power interruptions, a challenge documented across the archipelago, pose a significant threat to the profitability and service quality of this tourism enterprise. This review synthesizes literature at the national level, focusing on the state of the Philippine energy sector, national policy response, the vulnerability of the tourism industry, and documented capping mechanism of business. The national context provides the essential backdrop against which the localized exploration of alternatives for a private beach resort owner can be understood and validated at the national level. The Philippines has long grappled with issues of energy security, reliability, and cost. Studies consistently highlight the vulnerability of the national grid to disruption. The Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities (ICSC) in its national assessment frequently points to the country's heavy reliance on imported fossil fuels and an aging grid infrastructure as primary causes of power instability. ICSC 2022. This results in both scheduled rotational blackouts and unscheduled outage due to technical failures of natural disaster.
Mabuhay ug madyaw, I am Joby Daban. I will discuss the review-related literature to our research title, Exploring the Alternatives Frequent Power Interruption Private Beach Resorts in Babac District, Samal Island. These studies discuss about the continuation of national review-related literature when it comes to the issue of power interruption, also the factors of customer satisfaction in private beach resorts. The Department of Energy, or DOE itself, in its annual power statistics, regularly reports on system-wide power interruptions and the resulting economic losses, quantifying the impact on a national scale due 2023. National research by the Philippine Institute for Development Studies PIDS has further elaborated that beyond Metro Manila, regions and island provinces experience a disproportionately higher frequency and duration of power outages, which directly affects tourism-dependent areas that are often located in these geographically isolated and disadvantaged regions in 2021. This establishes that the problem faced by the resort owner is not an isolated incident but is a systematic nationwide issue. In response to these chronic challenges, the national government has enacted policies and frameworks that actively encourage the adoption of alternative energy sources. The Renewable Energy Act of 2008, RA 9513, is the cornerstone of this effort, providing fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for the development and utilization of renewable energy resources. National studies, such as those from the Ateneo School of Government, have analyzed the impact of this act, noting a significant increase in solar, wind, and biomass installations, through often focus on utility-scale projects. Ateneo de Manila University 2020. Furthermore, the DOE's net metering program is a national policy specifically designed to empower end users, including commercial establishments like resorts, to become prosumers, both consumers and producers of energy. Research from the University of the Philippines National Engineering Center has evaluated this program, highlighting its potential for reducing electricity costs and enhancing energy resilience for businesses, through also noting barriers to adoption such as high initial capital outlay, APNIC 2022. This national policy landscape directly informs the alternatives that a resort owner might explore, framing them not just as private solutions but as nationally endorsed strategies. According to Katajan and De Vera, the renewable energy powerhouse of Northern Luzon, particularly in Cordillera, the global shift to renewable energy accelerates, and Cordillera communities grapple with balancing sustainable development while upholding indigenous peoples' rights and protecting their territories. The government envisions the Cordillera as the renewable energy powerhouse of Northern Luzon, aiming to address high electricity rates and local social acceptability concerns. The Cordillera Renewable Energy Master 2024-2023 seeks to harness an estimated potential of primarily from hydropower. He cited the failed mini hydro project in Kabayan, Benguet, where the community called for a halt to the EPIC process for 3 proposed hydroelectric plants due to irregularities. First, renewable energy in the Cordillera. The Cordillera's renewable energy potential heavily relies on its abundant watersheds and river basins, making hydropower a leading alternative energy source. This has drawn multinational companies to invest in the region. Currently, the East Abuetes Power Group operates several hydro plants through privatization. These include the Magat Hydro Plant with a 360 nameplate capacity, the Binga Hydro Plant. Additionally, one of the reasons hydropower has so much potential in the Philippines is that it is a wet country with a wide range of terrain. This environment provides multiple avenues to apply hydropower development technology in dams or rivers. As of 2019, river-based hydroelectric system accounted for 566 of hydroelectric power generation. Alternatively, dam plants counted for 3,135. This total of 3,701 of electricity is only 17% of the country's estimated hydropower potential. In general, small hydroelectric facilities generating electricity less than 10 are found evenly distributed across the nation. Finding sustainable locations for a small hydropower project is much easier and cheaper than the larger alternatives. The Philippine government is embracing this small hydropower project as a viable way to provide reliable power to rural communities as part of microgrids. Second, the large hydroelectric power plants in the Philippines. Knowing which hydropower project is producing the most energy at any given time is challenging. However, there are several sizable facilities that are larger than most hydro plants in the country. One Magat Hydro Plant in Luzon has a capacity of 360. Second, Angat Hydropower Plant in Luzon has a capacity of 218 and supplies Manila with 90% of its fresh water. Third, Agus Hydroelectric Plant in Mindanao has a capacity of 200 and has been online for over 50 years. According to renewable or alternative energy requirements are frequently proposed to address these concerns and are currently in place in various forms at the federal and state levels of government. These policies specify a certain portion of the energy supply from renewable energy either as an absolute amount of renewable energy supplied in the market or as a percentage of the energy supply.
So good day, panelists. My name is Jan Estrellas, and today I'll be presenting the research design, research participant, research instrument, data gathering procedure, data analysis, and ethical consideration that has typically found in methodology chapter. So let us start with the research design. So the study will utilize a descriptive research design. Descriptive. So research is a method used to systematically and accurately describe population, situation, or phenomenon by answering what, where, when, and how questions without manipulating any variables. Okay, so next is research participants. No? The target population comprises 10 registered beach resort owners and or managers within the identified research locale. Okay, so our participants must be either an owner or a top-level manager, also must be currently registered and operational private beach resort situated within the Babak district of Samal Island with the 10 specified research locale are Tiny House, Lagkaw, Station 91, Alta Vista Beach Resort, Mahan Beach Resort, Maricar Beach Resort, Family Garden, Hamogawa Beach Resort, Rainbow Breeze, and RPC Novak District. You must be demonstrate knowledge of subject by possessing first-hand experience with the frequency, duration, and implementation, usage, and associated costs of alternative power solution like DSL generators. Okay, so to meet the target number, so the individual must be one of the first 10 qualified persons who are successfully contracted and formally consent to participate in this study. Okay, so in this part, no, this is our overall plan of our research on how it will be conducted, such as we need to go to the private resort to collect data because our research is about exploring alternative for frequent power interruption in private beach resorts in Babak District, Samal Island. And also, what researchers need to find out, and that is to determine how frequently business resort in Babak District experience power interruptions, how power interruption affect the operations, and also um, what are the feasible and cost-effective alternative power supply operations that are used by private beach resort in Babak District, and to determine who will be in our research study, no, and that is the owner of registered private beach resort, the manager, and even head of operations in Babak area. Then the researchers will be conducted in a specific coastal area, namely Tiny House, Beach Resort, Lagcao Beach Resort, Station 91 Beach Resort, Alta Vista, Mahan Beach Resort, Maricar Beach Resort, Family Garden, Hamogawa Beach Resort, Rainbow Breeze, and RMPC in Babak District Beach Resorts. So this is how will we analyze, no, as researcher, all the informations that we as researcher we gathered. Okay, then the research instrument. No, the researcher adapted the survey questionnaire from the study of Almazan et al. And Abu Abdul Wahab et al. In order to achieve the necessary data needed in the study. Okay, so to achieve or to complete the necessary data needed in the study, we as a researcher adapted survey questionnaire from the study of Almazan et al. And Abu Abdul Wahab et al. Using Likert scale questionnaire and selecting answer to the given questions, which compose of three selection, no, sections rather. Section A is the demographic characteristic of participant, no, that is optional. Then section B, length of interruption, that is the Likert scale, and the section C is alternative power supply option, that is selecting. So the next one is the data gathering procedure. So these are the procedures when gathering the data in which indicated in our researchers flowchart. So first, we have here the ethical clearance and permission using the consent from SICC consent form. The second one is the researchers need to drafting schedule in order to ensure to avoid disruption or disruption of classes to other subject. The third one is administration questionnaire. So the researchers need to administer the adapted research questions to the selected area in private beach resort in Babak District. So the next one is data retrieval and collation. The researcher collect the data. So next is data analysis. No? So after the data was collected, the researchers need to analyze by the use of Likert scale questionnaire. Next, the last one is statistical treatment and interpretation. So after collecting and analyzing the data as the researcher, we're going to measure and calculate it using standard deviation calculation. So next is data analysis. The collected data will be analyzed using appropriate statistical techniques via statistical software package. So as researchers need to use statistical software package to collect the data, organization, interpretation, and presentation of our study, and simplify complex calculation to ensure accurate result to the result. So the researchers used the online statistical tool, which is the social science statistical, in which composed of different statistical treatment, such as significant test, t-test, or p-value. So the last part of this chapter is ethical consideration, and it is very important when conducting a research. The researcher need to respect the participant information or privacy, such as discussing sensitive business data, and also protecting participant safety, and to make it sure that all participants are free to choose to participate without any pressures or voluntary participation. Thank you.